Nights at Freddy's, the horror game franchise. Horror. Horror. I don't feel like any of the subplots or really anything in this movie plays in together, and it doesn't really, nothing merges together. It doesn't come together fluently. It kind of feels like 3 different movies in one, and it just makes for a very uneven movie, especially when it's a pretty simple movie about animatronics killing people with this guy who was working the night shift at a broken down Chuck E. Cheese where it's 5 nights at Freddy's. It doesn't really play into that concept at all. It doesn't really feel like 5 consecutive nights in a row. At a point in this movie, I kind of forgot that I was watching 5 Nights at Freddy's until it got to the last 30 minutes or so of the movie, which honestly still moves pretty slow. There's a point in the movie where they start building forts together. The killer animatronics are building forts with this little girl, Mike, and this police officer, and it just felt so uneven, and I couldn't really tell if they're trying to be funny, because there are moments of humor in the movie. I think the jokes are kind of hit or miss. Some of them are surprisingly well thought out, decent. If I had to say what I liked about the movie, it would be a lot of little things combined that would, if they weren't good, it would be kind of nitpicks, and then everything that I didn't like about the movie is what should have made 5 Nights at Freddy's the movie, which it didn't. What I liked was the animatronics. They were stellar. I mean, they kind of had to be. They're working on this for a long time. I'm sure a lot of the budget would have gone into making the animatronics look nice. The attention to detail here is amazing. Some of the cinematography is great, and some camera shots you get, but really those are just little things. And none of the other subplots, like Mike as a main character, his trauma, what's trying to play into there, it's not really interesting. You don't really get into the character or feel for him. It's just kind of, you're feeling like you're in a random drama movie, and none of the emotional beats hit for me. Not to say that he's not good in the movie, because what he's doing is fine. It's good to see him back on the big screen. We haven't seen him for a while. Really like him as an actor, but this was not the greatest return. I mean, we knew this was going to be PG-13 for a long time now, and some people are really pissed off to the point where they won't go see the movie just because it's not R, and it is a PG-13 movie. But it didn't stop my excitement for the movie, considering even, I think most of the games are not R, they're PG-13. A lot of them are based on jump scares to probably make it PG-13. I saw in an interview they were saying that it was made for the fans, and it was, so it made me think, oh, it's going to be fan service, so probably won't, as a movie it won't be great, but for the fans it will be. It doesn't even feel like it was fan service. I don't really get where that came from. Like, there's Easter eggs and references in here for fans to like, but I feel like as a movie it doesn't feel fan service. The main plot and how everything comes together and all the themes and what the video game is like into the movie, it just doesn't feel like fan service. It feels like, I don't know how, if you're a fan, you can appreciate what is being done here, when essentially it's an hour and a half of a trauma story and a police officer and his child, and you don't really care about it. And then there's like 20 minutes of animatronics killing people, which is the best bit of the movie, which you would want way more in the movie. There was one scene in particular where they kind of pushed the PG-13 rating a little bit, and I appreciated it. It was with some shadows. I thought there was a couple of nice camera shots, and some of the sound design was really good. Also, the music in this movie is pretty solid throughout the whole time. There's soundtracks that are familiar and some that are changed up a little bit for the better. And there's probably like 1 or 2 moments in the movie where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But apart from that, it's just a dull, generic horror movie that you forget is about animatronics killing people, because it barely happens in the movie. There is sequel bait, and I will see the next movie because I like the games a lot. And I'm gonna hope that they do justice, but I don't really have all the faith in the world. So 5 Nights at Freddy's was decently acted, had a lot of potential. Jump scares in it weren't great. Don't even know how there wasn't even anymore in the movie, considering that the games are based on jump scares a lot of the time, confusing to me. It was just a lot of plots coming together that don't really feel like the same movie. It's just very random when you get dream sequences throughout the movie, by the way, which are just fucking awful and dreadful to sit through. It feels so out of place and odd when you're watching it. He just starts chasing a couple of kids. It's really weird. It's a weird fucking movie. It's a weird fucking movie. It's not what I would expect from a FNAF movie. Fuck no. Like, they could have misfired in a completely different direction. Then I would have been like, oh, yeah, I could see it hitting the misfire on that. But this misfire, Jesus Christ. I don't know how they've done it, but they have. And as always, I'm Juicy. Watch movies.
Waiting every night to finally